enemy remaining.
Nice.
Alright, hello there. I'm going to go over some basic aiming to get you up to speed on how to aim in Valorant, CSGO, any kind of first-person shooter really. I'd say the first step is you gotta have the right peripherals. You gotta have the right hardware. So if you're not working with a good mouse pad, a good size mouse pad, and a good gaming mouse, then you're putting yourself behind and you're setting yourself up for some failure. Now, obviously the mouse isn't the biggest must. You can definitely use like a cheap mouse and still play well. I would recommend, you know, just find something that's comfortable and maybe not like super cheap, but that's going to be up to you. So one of the first things I'd say that newer players are going to do is they're going to have their sensitivity whatever default is. So it's just like I'm barely twitching here, my hand, as you can probably see in the webcam, and I'm just all over the place. I couldn't focus on anything if I wanted to, and this is like around where I think the game puts you. And I'm on a low DPI. If you don't know what DPI, it's dots per inch, and I play on 800 DPI. So I recommend playing 800, maybe 1600. I wouldn't really go much higher than that. So the first step is lower your sensitivity to something that's comfortable. Maybe this is too low for you, you know, so you're gonna want to still be comfortable. And if you don't have the space that I have here, then, you know, work with what you got in the meantime. I do recommend getting more space, but not everyone has desk space. Not everyone has money for fancy mice or fancy desks and blah, blah, blah. So you got to work with what you got. But I do recommend lowering your aim sensitivity because you're just not going to be able to focus on your target. So if I come up to this bot and I put my crosshair on him, this is a good rule of thumb to find out if your sensitivity is too high or too low. So what is looking at this bot going to tell me? Well, if I put my crosshair on his head and I start strafing around and I'm struggling to keep it on his head, then I'm probably too high or too low. Now, how do I know if I'm too high or too low? Well, if I'm too high, I'll be like super shaky and I won't be able to, you know, keep it on his head. If I'm too low, I'm gonna have to keep picking up my mouse pad. Now, maybe I can emulate this real quick. Oh God, yeah. So if I'm too low, and look at this, like, yeah, this is uncomfortable. We're not doing that. So this is about right for me. If I had to recommend a starting sensitivity for you to find something, I would recommend maybe around like 0.5 as a new player. Because for you to do like a quick swipe, you're only using like this much space. So if you have not much space to work with, that might be a good way. And most people who play computer games or use their computers, they really don't like do this like a Counter-Strike player does. You know, so you might not be used to it. So having a higher sensitivity at first will just help you get used to the basic mechanics of the game. So what's another good rule of thumb for aiming? Well, for me, one swipe to my right is 180. And you're gonna obviously have different, one swipe to left or right is 180. Now you're gonna have, depending on your sense, like a swipe to you is going to be completely different. But what you want, so originally I wanted one swipe of my mouse pad to the right to be 180, and then just with my wrist and so forth. One swipe to the left, like a full, when I had just a mouse pad, I don't know if you can see my hands, but fully extended from corner to corner of the mouse pad. Now I have a pretty big one. Anyways, but I got used to what it felt like, and now I like do these swipes, and my muscle memory, I know exactly like how much to swipe. So I recommend figuring out, with judging on your mousepad side, doing a swipe like that and being able to know exactly how much you need to turn your wrist and your arm. And like for me, I don't know if it really matters for, it's just something that I did when I started playing Counter-Strike years ago, many years ago. I, like, in the warm-ups before the game even start, I would just swipe left and right and make sure I could turn 180. Now, yeah, like I said before, it's more important to hit what's in front of you, but being able to have full 360 control of your character is very good. Now, there's more to aiming than just like hitting the targets in front of you, swiping 180. There's obviously like crosshair placement, pre-firing, strafing, you know, spray control. There's a lot more to it than just being able to keep your crosshair on a target and left click. But this video is more about just getting some very basics down, going from knowing nothing to something. So if you guys want more videos, let me know. I hope this one was helpful.
Oh shit.
Dead.
Jesus.
One enemy remaining.
Ultimate is ready.